Okay, Mud Fossil University here, the voice of Mud Fossil University, and I am speaking today about the original people of Australia. They call them Aborigines. They were actually the original inhabitants, and they go back to the beginning of time, literally. And they are carrying on these traditions and teaching the new original peoples the culture that they have been pretty much denied, mostly for every place on earth. I mean, I'm not pointing any bullets at anybody. I'm just saying that, as we all know, the original peoples of everywhere on earth have been treated like they were silly, and I have come to realize that is silly. Those are the people that are in touch with reality, and Mud Fossils has turned this whole thing on its head, because it's true, the things that they are saying are supported by the evidence that exists on the ground. So let's dig into the evidence, and then we'll dig into the sayings and what they told them. And these are what they call the dream times, the times that created the earth, and the creatures that lived here on the earth were literally the earth, and they treat every single thing on the earth as a living thing, and it is. The water, the air, I believe it's called Katikitanga, or something along those lines. They respect the earth because the earth is alive. Somebody's got to start to understand this earth is alive. It's not just something that is dead rocks and dust and dirt, water all over the place. It is a living creature. I'm not saying that, metaphorically. This is a living, literally alive creature that we are assaulting in every possible way. And these people understand it. And these are the people we should have in charge of our world. That's all I have to say about that. But I don't mean to be nasty about it, but the things that are being ignored are just absolutely unbelievable, that they can get away with ignoring the reality of our situation and destroying this earth for the coming generations. It's not right. It should at least be looked at. If it just comes out to be silly, fine. But Mud Fossils is literally proof. It's DNA certified proof that the things that were written have an extremely valid basis. And that is something that needs to be taken into account in the places where they claim to be educating the truth of our existence. And I am saying that is being avoided because it's not as nice as they thought it was. It's not as simple. And these are the people right here. Those are the people that we should be talking to about the reality. They've carried on the traditions. They understand. We treat them with the worst disrespect, and think that, and not just them, they're the American natives, the native inhabitants of America. It's really, it's a disgrace worldwide. The arrogance and the colonialism that's caused this, and now is leading to the destruction of our earth. So let's go into this, and we'll see what this is all about. And I make up your own mind. Maybe I'm a nutcase, but I think this is all reality and Mud Fossils, and I'll show you the evidence. It's not just something I'm making up, guessing at. Now, listen to this. This is an outstanding video, and well thought out, and exploring. It's called the full documentary, The Men of the Fifth World, Planet Doc full documentaries. And they are showing that these people were of the original world. They're not of our world, but they are certainly of this world, which is the original world. We reinvented this world into a fantasy world. That's fact. The things that are in the stones cannot be denied, and they are being denied. DNA, CAT scans, anatomists, chemistry, recreation of the chemistry lab work. There is nothing that has not been proven here, and it is avoided because of the implications it has on the people that teach us. Really, that's who it is. It's the ones that teach us are embarrassed and will not confront this. So let's talk about it here. I'm going to play the documentary and we will go from there. So here it goes. Now I'm going to show you the mud fossils as we go along.
We elders have the important task of initiating the young into our customs, explaining our history to them, and teaching them to respect the traditional laws.
I'll stop.
Our people, our culture, are the oldest in the world. We were already here thousands of years ago. We were around at the same time as what the white men called Homo sapiens. In these caves and caverns, we can feel the influence of the spirits of our...
Look at all of the mud fossil walls in the background. They can feel this. These people are in touch with reality. We've lost this. They never lost it. Look at all, watch everything. And as we come up on minute 5, you'll see a red stripe come up here. And they did not put there is blood. And I will show you the same. I have the exact same material here in a much smaller form. But this is a huge, huge, huge mud fossil. And I believe, well, I'll tell you what it is later because you'll never believe it. So let's continue on here.
Our ancestors. If you sleep here, you can see them in your dreams and receive their messages. They come and fill you with their strength, and when you wake, you feel very good. These are sacred places for us. In the past, people lived in caves and natural shelters like these. Across all our territory, you can find paintings made by our forefathers in which speak of the dream time, the creation, and how they lived 50,000 years ago.
All transition metals from blood, all leaking out of there. Now, at a point you will see...
In the Kakadu National Park lies Ubi Rock, where the rainbow serpent stopped after creating the world and was painted on a rock so that people could see her. Over time, our forefathers...
Alright, this is, and I am going to show you the exact same material I have here in an extremely smaller form, but this is, they didn't paint that on there, that is blood. That's a layer of blood between the layers of muscle tissue. And I will show you have identical same structure here. And there is a zillion little tiny layers of skin or flesh or whatever it is. It's layers of tissues that are separated from each other and glide back and forth in this type of a manner and along the fascia, which has slippery, gooey stuff they call it. I think it's called leucine-rich proteins. And this is one of these bloody investments that services all of this tissue through these little tiny holes and things with nutrients. So let's continue on here for a minute or two, and then I will show you my rocks, and then we'll go from there.
Others left on the rocks a complete collection of images.
They didn't paint
their way of life and
carved. That's carved.
They painted the animals they hunted or fished, so the spirits would help them capture them. In this way, we know to what extent these animals are the same ones as those we eat today.
One thing I want to point out, you see the different colors on this different same substrate here? To my mind, they knew something about alchemy because this has been treated with some form of caustic or an acid compared to the other places in here. And they must have drawn that in there somehow or scratched that off to reach a layer of oxidation which was totally different. And then they oxidized at a different rate. But I believe this reddish stuff here has been hit with some kind of an acid or something because that will bring out the metal complexes so where you can see the colors and I believe they did something with alchemy here. I don't think that's just a natural way it happened. but they did carve it and scratch.
Long-necked tortoises, kangaroos, crocodiles, wallabies.
All right, anyway, that's enough for that. But you could see all the layers of skin and tissue and so forth, and there was a white kaolin clays there and all the marbling. And I'm going to show you some rocks here that have extreme similarities. Okay, this is basically the same sort of situation. This is the red blood layer where they carve stuff in. And you can actually, you could remove that with your fingernails. This is nothing but blood cells. It's blood cells. And that erodes right out of here. You see how that's undercut? You see how it's all undercut all over here? You see up under there, the cracks and so forth? That is where they made caves, in the huge ones. Now, I have a light in my hand, so I'm not having a hard time moving and stuff. But if you can see up under there, you see? And this right here is the muscle structure, and you can see all the layers. You see all those extremely fine layers of muscle tissue there? That's not something that is erosion, not at all. And I can show you that very clearly. It has nothing to do with erosion. It's interwoven muscle fibers, and it's very simple to see. In the back here is easiest probably. Well, you can see it anywhere. It's everywhere. See how finely woven those fibers are into each other? You see? And then they have that red, you see down the bottom, another big layer of that red slurpy stuff. They call it leucine, small leucine-rich proteins, only in here they're big. That whole layer right there is blood. That whole thing is blood. And if you put water on there, it turns a little pinker. But it's, it's obviously very heavily oxidized by now, but at any rate, that is what it is. It's blood, and that is the, I just put water on there so you can see a little more red, but that's what we were looking at, and that's what the Aborigines have, and they understand these things, and we do not. It's time we made a little more effort to look into